Hello, welcome to today's video, which is what does a great culture actually mean? My name is Ethan Chazen. I am a New York-based organization development coach, and I help mostly small to mid-sized businesses to achieve significant revenue growth by unleashing their people's untapped potential, performance, productivity, which leads to profitability, mostly by building great workplace culture. So I want to dive into what makes for a great workplace culture. If you watch any of my videos, you may have heard me talk all the time about how important culture is. Well, what is it? Culture is simply the sum total of all the actions of all the people in your organization. Typically, it can be consolidated, the summarization of it, into your organization's vision, your mission, and your core values. I often see a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, executives confuse what a vision and mission statement are. So what I'd like to do is start with vision and mission first. Your vision statement is entirely aspirational. You can't prove whether it's true or not. It motivates your people and any person who interacts with your organization. It's aspirational in that it shows what you want to become. Okay? Norfolk Southern, to be the safest, most customer-focused, and most successful transportation company in the world. Again, you can't prove it, but it should show other people what you want to become. Your mission statement, on the other hand, is actionable. It encompasses what you do, maybe what you don't do, and who you do it for. For example, I play a lot of tennis here in the United States. The definitive body for promoting tennis is the U.S. Tennis Association. Their mission, to promote and develop the growth of tennis. The beauty of a mission statement in its elegant simplicity is it drives everything your organization does. It's got to be therefore simple, it's got to be direct, and it's got to be operative. You've got to be able to literally build an organization around your mission. But at the same time, never lose focus of your vision, which is what you want your organization to become, to be known for. Almost, if you think about it, what your collective legacy is going to be. So let's talk about examples of vision statements. Patagonia, one of my favorite organizations in terms of great place to work. Build the best product, cause no unnecessary harm, use business to inspire, and implement solutions to the environmental crisis. These are organizational values. Why, for example, does Patagonia believe in those core values? Well, to quote the company, a love of wild and beautiful places. That's what their business model is built on. That's what founder Yvon Chouinard built the company around. Let's take a look at another organization with a great culture. Warby Parker was founded with a rebellious spirit and a lofty objective to offer designer eyewear at a revolutionary price while leading the way for socially conscious business. Those are the kinds of vision statements which an employee who's interested into going to work in an organization who shares his or their values, or a customer who says, I want to do business with this kind of organization. Those are the kinds of powerfully emotional vision statements that you can get people behind. Another of my favorite organizations in terms of great workplace culture, Honest Tea. HT seeks to create and promote great tasting, healthier organic beverages. We strive to grow our business with the same honesty and integrity we use to craft our products, with sustainability and great taste for all. I mean, you can't beat that. You literally cannot beat that. So let's talk about what culture actually stands for. I want to start by explaining to you that in the same way there's no one kind of leadership style, there's more than one kind of organizational culture. So let's go to achievers.com and let's talk about the four primary, there are more, but the four primary types of organizational culture. None are right or wrong. They're all situationally correct for where your organization is in its organic growth cycle, where it is in terms of the values and ideologies of your founders, where you want to be, your legacy in terms of positioning in the market. So those are characteristics or attributes that define which of these is appropriate for your organization. Let's talk about the first culture, collaborative. The focus there is on teamwork, team building, having people be able to, having people want to be incentivized or motivated to work together in a collaborative culture that emphasizes not that pyramid command control, that's hierarchy, we'll get there, but cross the organization, cross functions, marketing, sales, customer care, R&D, finance, operations, HR, all those functions of individuals work together collaboratively to achieve shared goals. Priorities in such a collaborative culture include boosting employee morale, enhancing an employee experience, engagement, inclusion, belonging, motivation, reward, recognition. You get the point. It's all about having people work well together. That's collaborative culture. The second is what we call a hierarchical culture. This is a vestige of the 20th century. It's command control, that pyramid. A few people C-suite on the top where mostly all the power and control is consolidated. Then you have layers of what we call bureaucracy or middle management. And then we have at the bottom that riffraff, that thing called staff, frontline client-facing staff. The hierarchical culture was built in the Industrial Revolution era when manufacturing was the primary driver in terms of control. Control being moved up, communication would flow top down. It prioritized efficiency, optimizing process, Kaizen, Lean, Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, all those things that had to do with communication coming from the top down, employees having almost no control. The kind of environment that a hierarchical culture fosters is results driven. Clear lines of accountability, ownership, control, authority. Communication never went from the bottom up. Never. So that's the second kind of culture, is a hierarchical culture. The third is what we call a market culture, and that's dictated in terms of results. It's structured on tangible, measurable outcomes such as market share, revenue, financial success, the competitive spirit of competing with other players in your industry or sector. The environment internally is driven by optimizing market share, gaining that primacy of position as a leader. Competitive pricing is a key consideration. You reward, you highlight, you emphasize employees' contributions to revenue. That's market culture. It is what it is. Think about law firms in terms of billable hours, hedge funds, private equity firms, consulting practices. It's a market culture. The fourth, and interestingly enough, this and collaborative are the two that I focus on in my consulting practice, is adhocracy, not bureaucracy, adhocracy. What does that mean? Adhocracy is simply a dynamic, creative, and entrepreneurial in spirit culture in which employees are allowed, in fact, they're encouraged, in fact, they're desired to be autonomous, to be self-functioning, to be intrinsically motivated. They possess amazing skills like problem solving, critical thinking, team building. They're natural born leaders, but they work well in team-based initiatives. Adhocracy is taking power, which used to be controlled at the top in the C-suite, and disseminating it, giving it out broadly to your whole workforce. You don't punish failure, you encourage risk-taking. You solicit the ideas, oh heck, you don't solicit. You fund and encourage your employees constantly to invest in coming up with new ideas to generate more revenue, new products, new services, or improve your profitability by reducing costs. Be more efficient, automate, outsource. So an adhocracy is really shifting the power dynamic from the employer, from the leadership team, down to frontline staff. And those are the four different types of culture. What makes for a great culture? So I like to go to different authoritative resources. So Indeed is certainly one of them. Indeed references culture in terms of it can be thought of sharing values amongst your people, attitudes, behaviors. Look, we know that British Petroleum is different than Tom Shoes, is different than Chobani, is different than Bank of America, necessarily so. They share different values amongst their employees. And the beauty, again, of building a great organizational, reputational brand, your vision, your mission, your core values, people can easily identify what you stand for. In the same way, if I were to shout out a product category with, let's say, sneakers, you would say Nike, Pumas, Adidas, Skechers, On Cloud, Hoku's, New Balance. You would know a brand in your associative network memory model. I can tell you that we as people, as employees, do that similar shorthand of categorizing organizations based on the kind of values your organization has within your culture. So there are things that you would build upon, like work-life balance, location. Being an organization in Los Angeles or New York or Chicago or Atlanta is different than, let's say, Boise, Idaho, or Cheyenne, Wyoming. It's just different. It stands for something different, the geographic heritage. Management style, benefits, traditions, communication transparency, rules and norms and procedures. In other words, it's institutionalized reputational storytelling. That's what culture is in its core simplistic elegance. So what is culture and why is it important? Also, going back to Indeed, company culture refers to the collective set of beliefs and values that are universally shared or commonly shared within an organization by its people. And it's reflected in the goals, behaviors, and the way in which work gets done, leadership styles, reputational branding, treatment of employees, that organization's engagement or actions in the communities its employees live in, the sum total of all of those attributes. It's the collection of values, beliefs, attitudes. So I've been getting a lot of pushback. I've done a lot of videos lately on corporate America due to influence from the right, cutting back on diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So a lot of people wrongly have been attacking me because, oh, there should be gender and ethnicity neutral, no bias in hiring. Diversity, first of all, has nothing to do with hiring quotas. Diversity is the sum total of the background, experience, culture, upbringing, values, beliefs that your workforce shares. That's what true diversity is, which leads to giving equity, your employees having a sense of ownership in the achievements and goals of the organization, which leads to inclusion. I feel like I have a future here. I feel like I belong here, which leads to belonging and a sense that that individual's values share the values of the organization writ large. Company culture might suffer, for example, if defining and maintaining it's not a priority. I have so many organizations that are so insincere. They give lip service to the importance of culture, but they don't invest in it. They just don't. If it were meaningful to have your organization's culture reflected in its values wouldn't just be on those black frame posters in the lobby. Your values, or 5, 6, or 8, every week, every team at every location in your organization in that weekly team meeting would focus on that week's value. Let's say community engagement, collaboration, team building, creative problem solving, innovation. And every week, every team, everywhere in your organization would be talking about what everybody did in the prior week to deliver on the organization's commitment for that one core value. So that's what values have to play. Company values and core principles are other important aspects of company culture. And it's not the fact that you have it in your marketing language. That's formal culture. That's what you say about yourself. That may or may not have any basis in truth. The informal culture is what your employees feel and experience every day. They either go into the office physically, or if they're working virtually, they log in. regardless of physical or virtual, their experience, their collective encounters interacting with one another. That's culture. So let's go to great places to work, great place to work. I want to talk about something. Claire Haswell, I love her work. And I'm going to put the link to all of these articles in the description below, but you want to check out and follow her work. The secret to attracting and holding on to the world's best talent isn't about workplace perks. It's about relationships. That's the key word. That's the buzzword I've been trying to say for 16 years of my practice. Culture is all about building, nurturing, and growing relationships within employees, employee to customer, leadership to frontline staff, coaches, mentors, vendors, partners, suppliers, every collective group of individual stakeholders. It can be hard to define this. I understand. I have in my consulting practice clients all the time saying, yeah, I've heard of this thing called culture and it's all warm and fuzzy. What does it mean? You know it when you see it. It's like that famous phrase about pornography at the Supreme Court. I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. Same with culture. You may not be able to put your finger on it and say, this is the sum total definition of it, but you know when you experience of it. I'll give you an example. Pick up the phone. God forbid you want to try and reach customer care at the Department of Motor Vehicles, the post office, your doctor's office, anywhere that you want to pick up the phone and call. Unless you're an organization that built itself from the ground up like Zappos around customer care is an afterthought. Well, that's a value. That's a value statement. We make a conscious decision not to invest in client service or employee well-being. The substance of a strong culture lies not in certain amenities for employees, but rather in how employees are or are not valued. Are they trusted? Are they encouraged to develop professionally and personally? These are decisions that you as an owner, you as a founder, your leadership team, entrepreneurs, you make a decision every day. You pick and choose whether your people are important to you or they're an expense. Newsflash. When I talk to small business owners and I talk to them about their employees, I'll say, our employees are our largest expense. No, they are not. Employees, and by the way, that's why you suck as an owner and your business is going to fail, because you see your people as a cost. Forget about strategy. If you have horrible people and a great strategy, you're going to fail. Forget about operational efficiency. Everybody has access to the same supply chains, the same vendor relationships, the same artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, EOS integrators, implementers. Everybody, technology now is the great equalizer. It's lowest common denominator. The true differentiator is your people. And if you think of your people as your only lasting competitive advantage, you will invest in them. You will invest in them. So why does company culture matter? For those of you who argue that culture is a warm fuzzy, no, we have decades of research from organizational development in terms of the return on company investment who invest in their people. I wrote my second book, The Compassionate Organization, spending a decade researching the direct cause and effect between investing in your people and outperforming your competitors. It's real. When Great Place to Work is a definitive, authoritative research organization who looks at the return on employee ROI, employee investment. When we at Great Place to Work compare the annual returns of the Fortune 100 best companies to work for, those shining light on a hill, those great workplace cultures, against the Russell 3000 index, which is the broadest benchmark index for US stocks, we, Great Place to Work, found that the companies in the Fortune 100 best cultures had a cumulative return of 1,709% going back to 1998, compared to a 526% return on the Russell index. Companies who care about their people, who invest in their people, who architect great places to work, they consistently financially outperform their competitors. Strong organizational culture, we know through the research, is closely correlated. There's a direct correlation or cause and effect with employee engagement. They're focused, they do their work, they're creative, they will solve problems, they're emotionally committed to seeing this organization succeed, their team succeed. Retaining people, especially your top talent, your people are innovative, and they even are more engaged in serving your customers, which guess what that leads to? Retention and greater renewals. For example, the research conducted by Great Place to Work certified workplaces where company culture is actually emphasized, they're 34% more likely to believe employees their company's customer service is excellent. So all of this is cause and effect. I want to share a little bit of something that I think is important. In a competitive job market, again, this is from Achievers, cultivating the best organizational culture may not just be an altruistic venture by your ownership or your leadership team. It's essential to company success. 48% of employees watch out for or actively search for a new role. It's clear that an inclusive place to work, a work environment that supports them, that's mandatory. If you don't like this as a business owner or as a kind of chief HR officer or a chief operational officer or a CFO, doesn't matter, a C-suite person, I don't care if you believe it or not. Gen Z and millennials who are becoming the majority generational group in corporate America, this is non-negotiable. And this is why they leave you after 3, 6, 9 months, because they've checked out. Your culture does not accommodate their short and long-term growth metrics or career or professional mobility. They're going to look elsewhere. Getting work culture right is critical for every organization, but it's hard to know where to start. So what I often do, I have a proprietary workforce vitality audit. It's an 18-question survey. I can share that with you, but what I often do is I tell stories of other organizations that I've either worked with directly or I use as shining examples when I teach in those 12 colleges and universities that I teach undergraduates and graduates in. So that's what I do. I storytell. What are the best organizational attributes? They've got strong leadership, employees are engaged, they're actively involved. There's open communication, up, down, up, across, in and out. Diversity, inclusion, equity. There are corporations, Meta, McDonald's, Harley Davidson, Lowe's, John Deere, Walmart. They are destroying, blowing out their DE&I initiatives. They're going to regret it. Employee well-being, health, wellness, balance of life, recognition, reward, coaching, mentoring, career development. That's what these people expect, and you choose to deliver them or not at your own risk and peril. So that's another consideration. So I promised that this would be a relatively short video, which it has been compared to some of the lengthier ones I've done. But please take away from this video, creating an amazing culture is not a nice to have. It's a business imperative. In the same way you want to start paying attention to AI, if you haven't already, start paying attention to the people in your organization, that thing called your workforce. If you have intent and clarity of building an amazing place to work, go to your people first. They'll tell you what they want. They'll tell you what they need, what they are looking for. Build an organizational foundation that is ready for growth. And if you're not sure how to move forward, there's some low-hanging fruit. Reach out to me, let me know in the comments, and I'm happy to schedule time to talk to you about where your business, your organization is, because this works equally for for-profits, nonprofits, government entities. The concepts are universal for creating a great workplace culture built on empowering your people and unleashing their untapped potential. So, hey, listen, very quick favor I want to ask. If you like the video, please be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel. That really supports me in my work to shine a light on great culture and organizations doing great things. If you've taken exception or you want to comment, please do. I respond to every single comment to all the folks in the community. And descriptions to all the resources that I mentioned in the video can be found below. Thanks so much for coming in and checking out today's video. Take care.